This seems to be a new feature of Zoom. Earlier, this lady did not make that announcement. So today she's joined our call and made this announcement. Anyways, so okay. So last week we started with some very interesting conversation around careers, around testing careers, and we had some good inputs about what needs to be done and what can be done about our career progression. So a lot of times, career progression in testing is uh, often if you start a conversation around career, and it often starts going in the direction of test automation and tools and technical. So today I want to ask the 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 audience, what is your perception of a testing career? What do you think, or in general a career? What do you think it is, and what do you think should be the ingredients of a good career progression? Who wants to take a shot at that? Soumya, yes, unmuted, yes. Okay.
Okay. So probably this may come as a shocker to a lot of people who are there in QA. But believe me, if you want to uh, go up the ladder in an organization and bigger organization, QA doesn't have any chance. Okay. So for an example, let's assume that I'm a VP of QA and then I would want to become an ED. The fight is immense. Okay. In fact, I would say that while you are searching for new job opportunities, you would still have very less percentage of jobs coming for QA. So that means there is some stagnation at each of the level that are there in our industry. To break that jinx and to go to the next level, I always encourage our QAs to start coding and start contributing to the code. If they do so in any of the format, that is the chance that they can go ahead and make some mark, and then they can do that career progression and they can have a roadmap to basically reach to the next level. Other than that, it's quite stagnant.
Interesting point, Soumya. I just want to add something here. So while you say that, okay, diversify your skill set, add coding to your skill set. But when you talk about career progression, and you gave the example of somebody trying to move from, say, a VP position to a C-suite position, CXO, whatever, CTO, whatever. Okay, that's one technical line of progression. But what can something be done outside of that as well? That's a question that I have.
So you can basically go ahead and explore different opportunities. Like there are ample amount of opportunities in consulting these days, where you can go ahead and consult a smaller company. I do consult a lot of smaller companies just to make sure that they are on the right track of being established as a QA small QA companies. So obviously, my take is that people have to explore different use cases
Right.
in their careers.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. And this is what I kind of was leaning on, because when we talk about career progression, okay, by restricting yourself to whatever you are doing currently and trying to see that as the ultimate source of growth in your career, you are limiting your opportunities. So if you want to progress in your career, the simple answer is diversify. Diversify in your skill set. One clear solution is learn how to code. Okay, get better. That will give you immense opportunities. The other options could also include learning about non-technical stuff, learning about business analysis, learning about how your business sector is doing, learning about sales, learning about marketing opportunities. There are plenty of ways you can go to the top. Okay, so when you talk about career is not limited to just test automation or whatever technical stuff that you are doing. I just wanted to clarify that it's a much bigger, gamut of things. There are a lot of things that are a part of your career choices. Okay, we have seen people rise from being a test engineer to go all the way to a CEO's position. So the kind of skill sets that they have is huge. Okay, Soumya is in the call. He just mentioned that he from whatever, other than whatever he's doing right now, he's consulting a lot of other smaller organizations, and you know you need a lot of different skills to be able to do that. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to clarify upfront, because in the last conversation that we had, the direction was already going in the direction of test automation. I know it will come in this call also. A lot of questions on automation, on tools, on how to make a transition, on what to do next will come. Okay, and then there are other examples. Sanjay is in the call. He left the corporate, jobs, and he's working purely for the community. Now that's a very difficult transition to make. Okay, to give up monthly salary and then work for you don't know how much, right? So that's a very difficult transition to make, but we know what Sanjay has done, right? We all know what he has achieved and how useful his contribution is for all of us. I can't thank him enough for whatever he's doing. Okay, each one of us is probably equally thankful and proud of what Sanjay has been doing. But that is the choice that he has made for his career. Okay, we have other examples. We have Naveen, who has done the same thing. Okay, we have Raghav doing the same thing. We have a lot of people who are doing similar things, doing for the community, for the larger good. And it's incredible how people can do that. But one common factor is that all of them are technically sound. They have learned a skill which is apart from their core skill of testing. They have learned how to code. They have made life much easier. They've diversified, learned about different aspects of software development. Okay, and that is what is helping them build on that skill. So at this point, at this point, I want to ask you if you guys have any questions or any thoughts. I see Sachin also in the call. Sachin, I know you had a few questions or a few things to share.
Yeah. Just a second. So, for me, I mean, the progression is something where you develop yourself to go into an advanced state wherever you are. Okay. So when we are saying that for progression, you need to do A or you need to do B, I think it's not completely right. Because when you see for any of professional, and I already said it in other places as well, that if you morning Teapot. So if you divide the entire career of any person, it starts from, there are 4 phases that I see. It's like follower, then learner, then leader, and then influencer. Now, at what state you are and in what state you want to go. A CEO of the company need not to learn automation, right? And my question is, what is if you are saying that somebody wants to go from VP to CXO, what if somebody is already CEO and what is career progression for him? So what is important is for me, and it's a different thing for different person. But what is single thing is to analyze what is your advanced state where you want to be. I mean, for Sanjay, if you take example, 2017, he can do something, and in 2018 he can be A, but he choose something else, and in 2018 he became even the lower version of what he was earlier in the sense of earning money. But he has a different plan, and he already analyzed his advanced state, and then he's moving towards that direction. So if coding is all everybody should do, then developer already have a big career. So even we should not do testing. If I know coding, I'll go into development. If business analysis is everything, then I mean, few years later, you will not see testing as a profession at all. But for me, every single profession, even if you are making some small coffee cup as well, if you are maker of a coffee cup from mud, you still have career progression. The point is you need to analyze what is the advanced state for you and then moving in that direction. So I would, for me, I cannot suggest what you should do. I can just suggest how you should do it. And that should help anyone. So that is my take on it.
Good one. Thank you. Anybody else wants to talk? Share something. Pricilla is smiling. Pricilla, what's your take?
Yeah, Brijesh. So first thing is like, of course, like everybody is saying here, like you have an, you need to learn coding, and the stages like we are, that is an excellent point. I loved it, like, because of course you need to realize which stage you are in, like right now you're an influencer or you're a follower learner. So based on that, so right now, what I'm thinking is like, even though you are putting much more of efforts, the opportunity is one important thing which need to be like focused on. Because if you see, some folks are really lucky enough, like they have a very top-notch technologies in their office, and they really can learn and leap in forward. But if you consider, for some people, they are like how to say, they are really interested to learn something new, but the chances are very minimal. Like they have to really do their extra effort and all those things. So opportunity is one thing. So maybe as a tester, we need to think about if there is not an existing opportunity, how to make one. Like how can I make my opportunity, like switching company or pairing up with a friend who's already working in that technology or something. So that using of opportunity or creating one, that comes as the first point. And the second one is like, which I'm thinking in the recent times is like, we are getting so many fancy titles nowadays, right? So it's not just about QA, like all those fancy titles. If you see analyst, I don't know what that just analyst is meaning. If it is data analyst, system analyst, it's fine. I'm saying like just analyst. Even the QA analyst we are seeing. And other than this, the architect, that is another fancy title we are seeing everywhere, like solution architect, automation architect, all those things. So what I'm thinking is like, whatever field which you're so much interested in, try to, after learning, like as Soumya suggested, that's a very minimal point. Try to start up with one language. And if you're really good at one language already, try to learn another fancy language. After that, focus to contribute something on unit testing, I would say. Like that is one part where you can learn and where you can explore yourself more. So why I'm telling unit testing is like, that is a place where you can really contribute and learn, and you can make your presence also to everybody in the organization. And we also know nowadays the developers are not doing extensive unit testing also. So that is one place where you can learn so much, I always feel. Because just to take an example, I'm just taking it in this way, because right now, after like for the almost a year, I felt like APIs are very interesting, and I'm so much been in love with the APIs. So what I can do now, so just not stop with testing. Now I'm trying to learn much more than that. And of course, as people are telling, you will reach your stagnation, like where the stage, like I'm bored, I need to learn something. So that is where you can seek the developers' help, or you can seek your mentors, and you can try to go through the stuffs in Google and try to like explore what is the next level of that. And that is where you learn, like, so now as a tester I started, then I'm trying to learn more about APIs. Then I try to learn more about the development tools, like what are the tools which they are using for developing APIs and how the developers are doing it. And then I can try to contribute from a unit testing. So in this way, if I go, like, even if I think like my goal is like, okay, one day I'm thinking of something to become a like a API analyst or something. I want to be in that kind of role. But so here it's like you need to know your path clearly, and based on that, if you start working right, I think things will fall in place. And of course, like anytime, anywhere, even if you go wrong, make sure that your dreams are always like feasible and achievable ones. So major 3 points is like taking up your opportunity or create one. And the second one will be like start contributing on your unit testing and or try to explore on that. And the third one was like make your dream and make sure that it is achievable and feasible, not in my point, like people say you can dream whatever you want, but in my point, make a possible and feasible dreams.
No, I think that's a fair point. Thank you, Priscilla. Well, I look at it more from the perspective of, if you don't see an opportunity in your organization, don't give up. You can always try and create an opportunity. Okay, because we are creative people, right? We can always use this strength. Now, I want to ask Sanjay one thing, okay? And Sanjay, this question I've had for quite some time, but I thought that since there are so many people, I should actually ask you this. How difficult was it for you to choose whatever you are doing now, leaving a good, nice, well-paying job? How did you, what was the mental state? How did you deal with that?
Yes, it was quite unstable state and really tough decision that time, because when you do such kind of thing, it is more important to convince first yourself and then your family, then your friends, that whatever you are going to do, is that right or not. That saying is there na, चार लोग क्या कहेंगे. What if like you get failed? So to, like getting over those things is really difficult when you do such kind of things, because you are in a stable state, being a co-path creator, which is like number one product that time, which was the number one product in the world in its field. And you were like very high paid in the job, and then from like that state coming to zero, and you nowhere have anything, that you don't know what will happen. And the COVID was also there, so it was really difficult. But but at the same time, if you have confidence, I mean, yes, of course, this is a quote and funda, but really this was the thing which has made me convince myself and my friends, my family, that when you have the strong idea, a strong belief in yourself that you can do it, and your idea, the whatever idea you have thought, if you believe that it can do bigger than that the previous one, then of course that was the thing which gave me the force and motivation, that yes, I can do it and I will do it better than the previous one. So yeah.
That is awesome, man. And we know what you have achieved. So many congratulations. Thank
Thank you.
God for for uh, for giving you that courage to deal with it.
And
And
yes, at the same time, and sometime I like okay, it's getting recorded, but still I would say uh, whatever we speak, that is not even like because real challenges we can't ever tell other people. So it's like always whatever we used to say, I know that you know everything, what's running and what was running that time. So it's like we can say, I mean, many a times we are able to share just 1% what the actual situations and actual mind of state in this kind of situation, in these kind of circumstances, the people are, so they are just able to share with the community and public just 1%, but the real challenges are always different.
Yeah, I know. Well, I am fortunate that at least you were able to share a lot of things with me. So,
Yeah,
but
and
then,
like I would also like to share these things. I mean, because when you do creative things or come out of like as an innovator and you think like we can innovate something new, so in those situations it's not like the most difficult thing is not to create the product, not to innovate the product. Many times it becomes difficult to fight for your rights in that, like that you own this or you created this. So this is like really difficult in our industry, I mean in any industry, not just our industry, so everywhere. So I would always encourage that whenever you do such kind of stuff, make sure that you have cleared everything with your company, with your the people with whom you have worked. So all those things, always make sure that you have cleared before inventing or creating something new.
yeah, this is a cruel world. Well, so well, a tough one. So, Soumya, I saw you unmuting yourself. You have a point that you wanted to share.
I basically second what Sanjay has said. It is very difficult while you work on a product. You need to make sure that people understand what your product is, because not having the money in the account and you still fighting for the product just to make sure that the community benefits, it's huge. Okay, and have been in that particular journey, and believe me, it requires a lot of strength when people don't believe in your product, but you still make sure that it still works.
Yeah,
So, and in all of these circumstances, that we always forget that we protect everybody else, but we don't protect ourselves.
Yeah.
So in whole of the career, we have to make sure one thing, that you have to protect yourself first. Only then you will be able to protect others.
Yeah, this is where I draw the airplane analogy where, you know, in if you've traveled by air, they always make this safety announcement: wear your mask first before helping your others, even if it's your kid. So you wear your mask first and then go to your kid and give the mask. There is a reason for that. And the logic is pretty simple. Okay, if you are not in a condition to save your kid, how will he or she manage? So first you have to save yourself, then you have to, you know, look around and do that. And Soumya is absolutely right. So
yep.
yeah, and that logic applies everywhere. Okay, not just in aeroplanes, but in real life too.
But I
So
just wanted to make one more point, Brijesh, and for the people in the call, is that most of the people right now, okay, and obviously everybody knows it's a pandemic and it's a very bad situation for everybody. But since this is a topic on a career conversation, I would say that, people do think that they are very happy in the current role, and they become very, very comfortable. And
yeah,
after 12 years in the same portfolio or the same project or the same company, they haven't actually gone through a lot of use cases which make them very, very vulnerable to these kind of situations. So while you make career progression, while you are growing up, you need to make sure that you solve ample amount of things around you, and be it anything, like, I always say that automation is not about automating an web app. It can be in automating a process where you can save some time.
correct.
So I would encourage people, while they would think about their own careers, you try to basically figure out where you stand at this moment. How many number of years have you passed? What are the new cases that you're doing? Are there any opportunities current in the current company? I know people hesitate to identify things on their own company because they are very comfortable. So they can always go and look into other departments and start doing those use cases. I always say to people, if you want to earn 5 stars, so right now, I'm in a position where I can do appraisals, right? So what I tell people is that if you want to earn my 5 stars, you will only get 3 stars while you do your job well. You get the 4th star where you collaborate and help others to make sure that they are successful. And you will only get the 5 stars if you innovate in the current product.
Correct.
If you do not do that, then your career progression is 0 and you would only get the salary increments. But while the salary increments are happening, you are the most vulnerable people where the company said, thank you very much. Tomorrow you are not needed.
Oh, that's a very practical thing that you've said, Soumya. I like what you said. It may scare a few people, but that's the fact.
Oh, it's tough one.
Okay, yeah, because organizations, they look at us in terms of, number one thing for any business is business itself, right? Is the money that they are making where with you doing stuff for them. And if you just treat it like, once one of my trainers long back, so I at the very early stages of my career, I went through some communication skills training randomly, some institute in Bangalore. And one of my trainers said, one of the attitudes to avoid is something that is very common in the industry. And that is come day, go day, God sent payday. It's like you do your job 9 to 5 and then only worry about that message, that SMS that comes in the end of the month, your salary has been credited. Okay. If that is the attitude you have, you're going to be wiped out very easily. You have to get rid of that. So I don't know if you can block that pop-up message, that SMS message that your salary has been credited. Okay. that's one way.
Or directly check into net banking.
I have blocked that message from last 1 year.
Yeah. I know, Sanjay. Sanjay, you are
Brijesh, hi. I would like to add a point here. Can I add?
Please go ahead, Aditya.
Yeah, Brijesh, what I see, typically the current people, the current freshers who all are there, the people, when we are starting our career, right? So from the starting of our career, we need to take a risk. That is very much important. If we take a calculative risk at the starting of our career, then we can progress a lot. Like suppose for example, like people are much fascinated about joining a big company. While there are freshers, right? So they are fascinated about joining very good company, affluent company where they get time to time salary. But if they talk about startup, right? Oh, startup! Why should I join a startup? There is too much risk. Will they give salary or not? But they have lots of questions. But if that startup goes well, right? Everyone in that company will be paid. So similar incident happened with me. I joined a startup where I used to do QA stuff. I used to do marketing. I used to go and give demo to the clients. Everything I used to do. But when I left that company, right? Actually, when I joined, there were only 10 people in that company. But when I left, around 60 people are there in that company. So yeah, that's the thing. We need to learn how to take calculative risks. That also plays an important role. That's what I feel.
I think that's a fair point, Aditya. That's good. So anybody else? I
just wanted to add one more thing to the gentleman who just mentioned one point here.
Yeah.
The main challenge with the people is that they fear what is going to happen next. Okay. What happens is that even if they go to a bigger company or a startup, it doesn't matter, but they do not have the confidence that they can still get a next job.
Mm-hmm.
So the main challenge here is that since they are not adding skills to their resume, they become redundant in terms of what anybody else can offer. and then that race becomes a larger race, and that fear people. Like, it's not about taking risk or not, it is about the confidence that whether you would get the next job or not, or the next career growth or whatever you want. So yeah.
That is right. Well,
Want to add one more thing, Brijesh?
yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. I really completely agree with the point which being just discussed and said. And also want to add one more thing, that normally in majority of the cases, people have a mindset that I just need to change a job, or by hook or crook, I just need a job. Irrespective of the thing, there is a risk or not, I'm going into a big firm or not. In majority of the cases, this is a mindset. But even though you have this mindset, I'm not saying it's wrong. Initial days, it might happen with everyone. But fine, even though it has, but make sure that you have a correct passion, an achievable one, and follow the things which are on a right track and with a proper process.
I think that's a very good point. Good morning, Seema. Good to see you. You're on mute.
Morning. Sorry, I'm late.
No, that's okay.
Even if you follow the process, the accident may still happen.
Agree, but damages may go a little less. Accidents are prone to happen.
Well, no, this thing about, by hook or crook having a job and having a job in a big company, that being a big deal. I don't know how to get rid of that sort of a mindset, but that's so prevalent.
It happens actually. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, please you continue.
I just want one add point. It happens. It cannot be avoided 100%, but slowly it can be erased from the memory. That can happen.
And how do you do that? What's the tip?
What do you mean by erase from memory?
Erase from memory is that, for example, I'll just give a quick example. During the college days, normally the big firms like Accenture, TCS, and Infi do a company visit for a mass recruitment. And people who got placed, they're very happy that I got this so and so big firm opportunity. And people, by mistake, they did not get placed or by anything. They may, for example, they got into some other firms which are not that big, or might be some different company, got campus placement. So there is an X factor which always follows people that, okay, if, for example, you, my colleague, okay, you got into Accenture, nice, such a big firm. I'm working there. Okay. You can try in such big company. So if initial days, if this is the thing in the mindset of the people, then slowly when you are targeting, slowly it may happen that salary or packages might differ with the X amount. But when your skill sets are diversifying in the different manners, however, that might not happen in the big firms, then there you achieve a larger goals as compared to your colleague. And slowly it can go on a longer path as compared to your colleagues. That's what I mean, actually.
So see, there's one more thing. Okay, organizations, when they advertise that we are looking for people, they always mention that they are looking for people from premier institutes. Okay.
Yes.
IIT or IIIT or whatever, especially in the Indian context. And so that means that if you've done your graduation, your engineering, your MCA, BCA, whatever, from a institute which is not one of the ones that the company is looking for, you are useless. Okay, so that's one thing. On the other side, it's for people looking for jobs. If you are joining a corporate with 100,000 employees, then you are in a big league. And if you're joining a startup, then you are useless. I think that's a very silly thought process. Okay, I am being very direct. That's what I think. I think you should look at what you are capable of doing, rather than seeing, okay, what the size of the company is or anything. Yeah, Faiz, you were saying something. Sorry.
No issues. Actually, so I don't. Yeah,
I don't know the name. I think it's showing as Team Magnesia. Sorry, but yeah. So
Sorry, that might be. My name is Omkar. Sorry.
okay,
Might
yeah.
be.
So Omkar, so the point Omkar made, it's very valid that that people are doing this means doing this. But what is happening behind the scenes? I think people are comparing very much. Like means, hey, this person is, let's say two people are were the batch mates or maybe joined the same company as a fresher, and then maybe after a year or two, one person switches the company, another person stays in that company, or maybe he or she also switches. But people start comparing things, and hey, he is having that, hey, she is having, why I can't have that. Okay, whether it's in professional front or personal front, so they are like too much into comparison. And that's and I'm not saying it's bad or it's completely avoidable. It's sometimes good also, because if you take it positively, you may get inspired that, hey, how much nice that person is doing. Even I can, if I can do maybe let's say X% of it, then maybe I can also progress further. So that's one way to look at it as well. It's not like, because it is a human nature, so you cannot completely avoid it as such. But people are doing such what I can say, illogical comparisons, that why, if that person can get that much amount of package, or if that person can get a job in that company, then why I cannot. But they fail to realize that whatever they know, whatever they currently, so there are like many different aspects to it, that actually first, I think as Krishna said, that you need to accept the reality. You need to accept what you currently are, and there is no need to be ashamed about it, that you don't know something or anything else, or let's say you are not from the IITs or so-called so much the high call. It's fine. It's fine. I have not seen I have seen many people that who might not have been through those fancy colleges, still they are doing good, right? So it's not always the case, but people are just try to compare it blindly, and then they are trying to get frustrated. So that's one thing. Another thing I would like to add is that people, so people do this, and people sometimes start saying that they are having problems, means they want to switch but they cannot switch, they want to learn, they cannot learn. But I'm not but somehow they are also equally responsible for that. Okay, people do not learn to draw lines, where to say no, when to say no. Okay, and then they like keep saying that that, yeah, I know there can be some cultures where it's like there are examples of toxic cultures everywhere, so they always know they are in fault. But somewhere somehow, if you are means giving people that much of freedom, then they will obviously ask you to do such kind of things, then you will not get time for it. So to get that kind of balance, work life balance, how to manage those things, so it's in your hands. So if you do it like logically, sensibly, then you can progress further. If you like do comparison only from that perspective, and you maybe do not start doing less, then you still keep getting problems. That's what I
Yes,
want to say.
completely agree. Means there is no end to any comparison. It should be logical in sense and constructive in manner.
Well, a lot of times when these comparisons happen, Faiz was absolutely spot on when he said that not every time does everybody take it positively as an inspiration. Most of the time, it is like, oh, this guy, I was working with him. How did he reach that position, and I'm still and 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 I bet you that if you are in a better position, if you started with somebody else, and if you are in a better position, and if you talk to your friend who hasn't grown up so much, after that phone conversation, you will not hear from him again. That's a guarantee. He will never speak to you again. Okay, I have experienced that myself. It has been there that I somehow managed to do better than one of my colleagues that I worked with. And I spoke to him once, and after that, we've never spoken. So I don't know what was the impression, but that's how it is. It's quite strange. But anyways, Suvas, you have unmuted yourself. So I know that you've been trying to say something. Please go ahead. Share your
It's
thoughts.
okay. So I mean, on a lighter note, was it something that you said that made your ex-colleague not to call back? I mean,
I just told him that I've joined a different company, and I am in a role where I can wear any hat at any point of time. For example, I can be an architect one day, and the next day I can be a test manager, and I can do whatever, because I am acting more like a independent test consultant. And then that guy was like, okay, I'm still stuck in a senior test engineer position, so how come you jumped to a position like that? So that wasn't a pleasant conversation, at least on his side.
Okay. So since we are talking about career, probably what I was trying to understand is, when you talk about a career, what is a typical timeline that we are looking at in terms of what we define by a career? I mean,
okay, let's take 15 years. Okay.
Right. So that 15 years is always from the point of view of where you are currently, right? I mean, if you are a fresher who's just started out, probably you're 21, 22 years of age. So you're looking at a career horizon of, let's say, 15 years. So you're looking at 37. Now, let's say if you are at, let's say, in your 30s, and you're looking at a career, and let's say we're looking at 15, so we're looking at 45 odd years. So the point that we also need to be mindful of is that it depends on, when you say career, where you are at this point in time, add up, look at what are your aspirations, and then try and work backwards towards that. See, because at any point in time, we need to remember that, there will always be people who will probably be younger and who will always be willing to work for cost which is lot lesser as compared to you. Maybe, have that fresh steps, fresh foot, and that fire in the belly as compared to you. I mean, that's a fact of life. I mean, you somebody who was probably in their 30s with your smartness, with your vigor, etc. So somebody will pay you back. I mean, that's life. I mean, you got to face that. So the point, I guess, we all need to also remember is, if we are at, let's say, and I'm not saying I, probably by the look of what I see, most of you are in your 30s or maybe late 30s. So probably what you need to be looking at it is that, what is it that excites you and probably make you influential, let's say 15 years from now. Now, because if you were to be looking at the way in which the technological space has evolved, I mean, somebody who was very good at DBase, I don't know how many of you even have heard about that. There was an interpreter called DBase once upon a time when I started off. And then whoever knew DBase and programming was, they were like real hi-fi. And then came Clipper, which was probably the first compiler. Now, somebody who knew Clipper and who could do programming in Clipper was like, he was like God.
Yeah.
But right now, it's obsolete, and I don't know even if you will get a compiler for Clipper as of now. So the point that I'm trying to make is, assuming that you are in your 30s, now how much of relevance of technology will have an impact on your career growth unless you are one of those technical geeks who are probably trying to come up with the next big thing, I think there is a limitation. You got to understand that. There will definitely always be someone younger, lesser in terms of their CTC, who is willing to take your place. I mean, that's a given. So considering that, at least from the mistakes that I have done, what I tell people is that, look at, let's say you are in your 45 or in your 50s. So what is it that you will be able to contribute that will make you unique and that will increase your area of influence? That's something that we need to be mindful of when we are looking at career. Because there are a lot of people who are good at certain things. And once they reach their 50s threshold, I mean, all of a sudden they're at sea. They simply don't know what is it that they are cut out for and what is it that they want to do for probably the next 5-10 years of their professional careers. That's something that probably one needs to be mindful of when you're looking at this word called career. Yeah, obviously there will always be an element of luck, destiny, fate. That will all play. I mean, that's life. But these are certain things which probably we can manage by ourselves.
I think that's a very fair point. Thank you, Suvas, for sharing that. While you were talking, we saw Mahesh and Ravi Surya joining. Thank you, guys. I hope you both are doing well. Ravi,
Yes.
how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm good, Brijesh. How are you? Hi, all.
Good.
Happy morning. Happy.
So we are talking about careers and career progressions and aspirations and where to go and how to go. So what's your take in general? How do you think one should look at their career?
Yeah. So I'll take my example. Means like what I am doing. I don't know I don't know how to put it for others, but I'll say what I put for myself for today. Career is a long-term travel. And what I'm doing in the long-term travel is I'm trying to focus to build skill sets and that will add the value to the stakeholder or to the place where I work. So that is the area where I'm focusing in the long-term travel of a career. That's my the current thought process in which I am traveling. Yeah.
I think there. Well, Sanjay has put his hand.
Yeah. But just actually there was a question from Pricilla, so I wanted to answer, and that may be helpful for others as well. It could be a common question. How do you motivate yourself when you feel low? So yeah, actually, I mean, of course, this is a tough kind of thing what I did, but I won't ever encourage others to do leave your job and then do such kind of stuff unless you are not really confident or motivated with something else. So don't do this kind of stuff. This is not always real something like that. So what motivates me? So there is two things, one is motivation and one is energy to work, to innovate new idea or to work full night and day night without expecting anything money out of that. Motivation I used to get from positive, I mean, this is sounds like funda, but actually this is a reality. And these kind of thoughts, these kind of situations and what you think, this comes over the experience. So I have faced that a lot, and that's where I reached at this point, that where these kind of fundas and things has been start applying to me, and my thought process has changed immediately. If you think okay, I will also follow this kind of thing, might not you might not get from inside, you will feel that this is funda. But energy, from where I get the motivation, I used to get the motivation from the your positive feedbacks. When someone from the community says, oh wow, this is something lifesaver innovation for me, it's saving a lot of time for me. When someone like Brijesh Deb, from the day when he became the patron, the very first patron, he believes in me and he is investing me on me, putting some money that okay, we will help you guys. Whole test chat community, everyone from the community start paying, Soumya start paying, and then he became the patron, he is supporting. So all these people when start supporting, so from there I feel oh my god, without anything expecting from me, nothing, I'm for them, it's personally it's not helping them, but they feel no, it is going to help community a lot. So when they support us, so that's where I used to get the positive energy and motivation. The energy for innovate something new to create something new, I used to get, I mean, we all should start getting that. But what I used to get is that criticism, the negative feedback. When I read the negative feedback, the negative kind of reviews, like 1 star, then somebody somewhere said that don't use this plugin, we should not dependent on XPath plugin. That's where I used to get a lot of energy, lot of ideas. Oh, how can I change this thought process of this person? What should I innovate so that like he will not, next time he will, in place of saying that don't use this, or in place of saying that this is not working, how can I fix that? What new idea I can innovate? So that's where I used to do that a lot. Like recently I read an article on Reddit. There was a discussion going on in that, where one person said that, I will read that: how many of you think selector sub is really an innovation? So from there, like from that day, I thought a lot of ideas that how can I make that like so that even these people start thinking. In that thread itself, like so many people try to make that guy understand that why it is an innovation, because Shadow DOM was not there, this thing was not there, this that thing was not there, and how it is helping people and testing community, whole testing community, that this is an innovation. So basically what I'm saying, motivation I used to get from positive, and when community support, energy I used to get like whenever I used to heard any criticism or negative feedback. And in fact, the selector sub is the output of the criticism. The idea itself is the like criticism. When I left the crow path and then situation comes, I was like figuring out like what wrong I did in my past, what was the thing that was not there, what people criticize over there for crow path, because many people, many comments was there that no, we should not use this tool, that thing is not there. So basically we should always take any criticism, any negative thing in a positive way, which that will help in your career to grow a lot. And actually the fact is that what makes us grow is that the negative feedback, criticism makes us grow. If everybody will keep praising me and will say wow 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 wow, you did I will like, I would have stopped in the 1.0 itself, selectors of 1.0, and I would have not made it like next level. So when you get the negative feedback for your career, for your product, for yourself, that's where you start growing. Positive feedbacks are not good for your career, your growth.
So that means Soumya is safe when he receives criticism from his employees for doing bad appraisals. He goes
Yeah, I really appreciate on that point, the very first point which Soumya made, that I really like that in like testing is that like a testing guy don't become like that one, and there are limited, of course, and I'm like 100% agree on that, and would like to add one point that there, that like change is constant.
Right.
Like there will always be change in your career, and always be ready to accept anything what comes in your pipeline, in your like it's not like if you are a tester you will always be a tester. Maybe like tomorrow you become manager, you become developer. So whatever opportunity tomorrow, maybe you become creator, innovator, VP, you open your own company. So it's, there are like lots of opportunity everywhere. It's just that like over the time, over the career of like you should accept it, you keep learning, keep giving your 100% in any of the field.
Absolutely. I think just talking about it, career is always long term. It's not, it's like investing in the stock market. You don't get the returns when you try and pull that money out immediately. It always pays you back if you invest long term, right? That's what career is all about. Well,
so I just wanted to add one more point. Generally what I do is I go back to my basics. Okay, so when I say what are the basics, I go back and start reading my college books. Okay, believe me, we have not read it very thoroughly. We always wanted to pass the exam, and right now I really bet that if you bring in a dev architect, I can really compete with the person, because I've restudied the architecture, the computer architecture, the distributed systems, the machine learning, the digital communication, all these subjects we have studied in our engineering. Believe me, we have to go to our basics at any given point in time, just to make sure that we make that career go to the next level. Right now, I had a complete product in a startup only because that I went back and read all those books again and made sure that my data structure algorithm is clear, my architecture concepts are clear, I can understand the system design concepts, and it's applicable in QA, in dev, and anywhere you go. Like that. Not with my kid, she's different.
No, I completely agree, and I'll give you one example for myself as well. So I, as a consultant, I started working with a company which uh, which manufactures devices for measuring voltage and current, from a very low voltage, 0.05 millivolts to all the way up to 5,000, 50,000 volts or something like that. So that range. And I had to go back to my books, my electronics engineering books, to study all that, current and voltage and all of those concepts. And that is absolutely true. I mean, initially I used to think, what is the use? What did I study in college? I mean, that's all rubbish. But then when I went into that company, and after that, I went from one organization to another, I had to study about electron microscopes. And I was like, wait a minute, this I studied in college. So I went back, and then, about computer networks, there was this big fat book by Andrew Tannenbaum. I don't know if all of you have come across that book. Yeah, I still have that book with me. I was like, this is like a savior. After I don't know how many 20 years, again going back to that engineering book and realizing that no, all that we studied back in college was not a waste. Okay. Initially, early days of my career, I used to think, engineering, okay, it's all stupid. I don't need it. But now I can safely say, and I agree with Soumya, we are going back to basics does help. Well, Seema, you've been smiling, so.
I had one point.
I feel picked up on here just because I smile.
No.
Like your class, whoever looks at the teacher gets picked up.
No, usually.
Soumya wanted to say something, I think.
Yeah.
Or somebody wanted to say something.
Ravi.
Ravi.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Ravi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I keep referring to those books very often now. So maybe in a week, I would have pulled at least more than 15 times to refer the books which I studied in the college. Yeah. I keep doing that.
I want to say this about Ravi. Okay, I know, Ravi, I've been following your work for quite some time, and I was having this discussion with Mahesh once, Mahesh Chikne, about a question that I had on IoT, and he said, "Did you speak to Ravi?" Okay, is the question he asked, and I was like, "Damn, how did I miss?" And then I put a question on Facebook. But I think somehow the message was missed or whatever. But then I somehow found a solution, and then you responded, and then I was like, this is a good guy to talk to. And now in the test chat community, when we see your responses to some of those questions, when you go to an absolute detail, and the way you write those long responses, man, that is something that is. That makes me feel so good. I mean, how much patience do you need to actually detail out the responses? Those are incredible responses, Ravi. I can't thank you enough on behalf of everybody for doing that, for helping us with our questions. And I think Ravi is a good go-to guy in case in case you have any sort of technical questions, especially in the IoT space, right, Ravi?
By doing that, I'll be learning means I'll be learning more, and I would have attempted to unlearn and learn more. So when I realize after I write that, I see that I have learned. Yeah.
And you learn humility also from him. So that's one more lesson you get. Well, yeah, Seema, you started saying something. So yeah, coming back to you. Yes, yes. Yes. So how do you see career progression? Okay, what is your opinion of a career progression? You are now starting on a new role, so on a different role. How do you think so?
Yeah, it's been I'd say I'm more like an outlier here. I've not had a typical career and career growth as such compared to many others, because I started with a 7-year gap, having no work experience, nothing, and then stayed in one company for about 9 years, I think 9 to 10 years. So jumping companies for the sake of money is something I don't understand, because I didn't do that. Adding value to yourself is absolutely important wherever you are. Doesn't matter whether you're in the same company, whether you're in a big company or a small company or a startup. If you don't add value to yourself, then that's where growth stops. That's where it doesn't matter whether where you're working. Maybe you're I think in India it's called CTC. The package increases initially, then you reach a point where there's not much growth seen. And at that point, it becomes really difficult. The other thing is going back, like Soumya said, going back to basics, absolutely important. I keep doing that. I keep going back. I'm not from an IT background, but I still read textbooks from computer science, maths, recently statistics, back to basics, maths, back to basics. I sometimes take my son's maths books and try and solve some things, because I need to understand how to do those maths problems, because that's really important. And another thing I wanted to say is it doesn't matter where you're coming from, which college, which university, how big is it an IIT, REC, or a big college, small college. It's what you know and how you'll apply that matters. Doesn't matter. I've seen people who are from IITs, from major colleges, who scored really good scores, are rank holders, and then eventually when it comes to working, they don't invest in themselves, they don't study further, they don't, I don't know if it is ego, or I don't know if it is something else, whatever that is, there's no value adding to yourself, which then leads to stagnant career. So yeah, your start might be really good because you come from a very good college, but then that career growth won't be a long-term good one if you don't invest in yourself. Yeah, and that's it, I guess.
No,
I don't know, I had many more things I can't remember now.
No, I think that's very, very practical. Thank you, Seema, for sharing that.
But yeah, one thing about two friends who were growing together, different paths, and that part of it. Yeah, it's about, again, you might start off in the same company, same level, same package, doesn't matter. You might even be working in the same project, but then what you learn from what you have done or doing to the other person, if that differs, that's where one person's trajectory goes up and the other stays where he or she is. That's where I'm saying the value adding is much more important than, it doesn't matter if it's the same, if it's a good company, it doesn't matter if your friends were in the same level or whatever that's called. It doesn't matter, that is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And Sanjay, don't take all the negative things to yourself, because you know what? At some point, you'll get muddled up with it. It's good to take positive and negative. Don't ignore the positives, because that's what keeps you going. Yeah. Take the negatives to grow. That's good. But don't take it to the point that you'll be lost in that negative feedback.
No, definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
That's very important, because short term it works, long term it doesn't work. It hurts.
Yes. No, definitely. Thank you.
And to add to what Seema was saying about Sanjay, you said that personally you do not think that we have a personal benefit. I told you in my video what the personal benefit was. Okay, I
Yeah,
never
definitely.
imagined I could do anything about shadow domes. Okay, I struggled so much. You solved my problem. Okay, I
Yes,
look
yes,
at
yes.
it as
Yeah,
my
I
personal
remember.
problem. I know
Yes.
many testers would have had that issue, but it was something that I used to go crazy with. You solved it, man. You did it in like what, 5 seconds, 10 seconds at the most.
Yeah.
At my speed, 10 seconds. At your speed, five seconds. Okay, you did
Yeah.
it. So there is personal benefit, definitely.
Yes, yes. No,
So,
definitely. I just like spoke
so
at a high level that I mean these people come and immediately started supporting. Yes, that's it.
There are 1,000 people who will give you 1,000 different kinds of feedback.
Yeah, no,
Pick
definitely.
the ones that really matter to you, which will take you forward. If you
Yes,
start
yes.
looking at absolutely everything, that it's not good for the long term.
Yes, yes.
I've been there,
Very
done
correct.
that. That's why I'm telling you. Sorry if I'm poking too much.
No,
that's
no,
it.
no, no. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
And
Yes.
Sanjay, believe me, why are we supporting you is a different thing. I and Brijesh, like Brijesh is quite senior to me, but we are like best brothers. Okay.
Yes.
And believe me, why are we supporting you? Because we have seen the hardships of the things, how you need to create, sell, convince, and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Convince. It's really hard to convince people.
So we know the hardships and we feel that it's not about money, it's just a support. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can completely sponsor the project. It's not like that.
Yes.
But the thing is that we understand that we just need to support you because you just need that motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
People
you.
do,
Definitely.
people do tell me, yesterday somebody was asking me that, and is that why do you jump so many companies? Okay. Believe me, okay, my fundamental is very different. I just go in, complete my projects, stabilize the things, and I want to come out because I'm coming from a consulting background. Any company I go, I just make sure that I create that value add, make sure that the team is self-sufficient to scale it up, and my job is done. I go to the next company to solve new use cases. That's how I am. I'm not recommending to other people, but I love solving use cases as many challenges, be it any in the organization, be it a people problem or a tech problem or sanitary problem. Okay, I have done that as well. I clean my own toilets in my own company. Okay, but believe me, it's all about solving problems. So believe me, that's one of the motivation factor for me that I keep on doing. Like I can't stop. Like even if there is too much hardships, I still can think and poke somebody else that you do it, I will help you. But but I have to do that all the time. I keep poking Brijesh all the time. And I in fact tell him all the time that you are not answering my calls. Why are you not doing it? So it's like that.
I owe you a call, Soumya. I keep telling I'll write to you and I keep forgetting it. I will write to you.
So what's to the point that Soumya was making? Okay, I was in a company for 10 years, and then the next few companies I've been like, it has varied from 3 months to 6 months to 1 year to something like that, because I went into the same mode that Soumya was talking about, in that consulting mode. Okay, I was there, and people started asking me, why are you jumping so frequently? Like, jumping is a very nice word, okay, but it applies more to monkeys than to humans. So let's stay away from that word. It's like, yeah, if you say, why are you switching jobs so frequently, it's because, once I see a project being successfully implemented, people doing stuff, I get restless. Okay, I have said this in an interview that I would like to see some more excitement, some different thing that excites me. The moment that exciting thing stops, I want to switch, and that's what I have been doing. And to that point, I agree with Soumya. We've seen, the side where you have to talk to people and really say, okay, you know what, this is what this product is doing, and they sometimes, they just close their eyes and say, okay, I can't see anything. And then you have to tell them, your eyes are closed, you will not be able to see anything. Okay, so we've been in that situation. So yeah, I know.
You know, that's one way of looking at it. Like you're saying you both are switching jobs because you're looking for challenges where you can add value to that and then move on and do newer things. But I've seen the other side where people are switching jobs as soon as they hit a problem. As soon as they don't like somebody in the team, that person's giving me trouble, I want to switch. This person is causing trouble, I'm switching. I don't like the project manager or the test manager, whoever, I'm switching. Or any other problems. I don't know how to do this, let me switch. So that's another aspect which I've seen. Instead of finding ways or staying in the place in spite of the problems and trying to find a solution, because that's where you're learning. Your learning is not when everything is smooth. Your learning is when things go wrong, when you're trying to fix it, and that's where you'll find out things about yourself that you didn't know, your strength, your weaknesses, your how to cope. That I don't agree with, when people switch as soon as they see a problem or they hate it.
Then we should basically teach them political science.
Politics is really important, right? Even tower or Paris Eiffel Tower was built because of politics. So it's important wherever you are. It doesn't matter if we are a tester or not. It's important to understand how it works.
So Seema, what course in political science did you do?
That I've given it to my daughter.
Okay, Gaurav, you said something. You were trying to say something in chat.
Certain points I had. So earlier we had the discussion of value addition. I said in my interview also, like how I do it, like it can help people. Like I maintain a folder called as VA, value addition, in my inbox. So whatever I do, like you can put anything. Maybe suppose you participated in a cultural event and you came as first, right? So maybe whatever other people are not doing, you are value addition, because company is organizing or doing anything for you. So it could be like asking, like manager sent a general email, like who can take the interview. And even like I maintain a personal folder as well. For example, participating in TTC events or whatever. So those are the extra things that people are doing. Sometimes they don't realize. So those are value additions, because office work anyways you are doing. You can value add in that as well and in other as well. And yeah, coming to the second point, that which is being which Seema just raised, that people, yeah, because I was there in a micromanagement and I raised it to the top. I talked to the director, and sometimes people are there for 20 years. They were not willing to take actions. So they removed one person, but then the other person was also doing it. So I was just raising one of the problem, that micromanagement is a like, if we have any solutions, then people can come up with, but I was finding it very hard to find the solution, like why you took 2 breaks in a day and why you were not there at your system, because I came from a company where nothing was happening like this, and then landing in such a situation, it was like a mental torture for 8 hours sitting in that office, where I can complete, where the work that I was doing is I can complete in 3 or 4 hours, but it was really a mental torture.
That is understandable. Well, to Gaurav's point on value addition, in one of my previous organizations, I did something which I believe the company is still doing it. So I started an exercise called +1. It's like, apart from doing your job, what is that extra that you can do for the customer? Okay, in the project, can you do something which is, people say, oh, we are stuck in a manual testing project. Very famous thing, I'm stuck in manual testing. So it started off like that. People used to write very small scripts. Okay, a simple script that will monitor, so we had this lab which was like on the other side of the building. So we had to walk down and, restart machines there. There were 3-4 systems there, and then come back to our desk again and then start working. We said, if we could do that remotely just by a shell script. If we could, restart those machines, because they needed they needed a soft reboot and not a hard reboot. If it is a hard reboot, then of course you go physically and power cycle the machine. So we did that, and that saved a lot of time for people. And we showed this to the customer, and customer was really happy because they started doing that, and that was identified as something that is going an extra mile for the customer. And we made many changes, in the way we started working. So Gaurav is absolutely right. Track your value additions, propose them to your customers, think from a customer's perspective, what can add value. Because if you go to the market, okay, to buy something, and if you see a product which is offering something extra, you go for it, right, at the same cost. So think from that perspective. What can you give to the customer which will feel like an extra benefit for them from your side? Once you start developing that mindset and you do it over a period of time, you will get a lot of ideas. We help them with documentation. Documentation was not in our scope at all. Okay, we were testers, we used to do it. But user guides, technical documentation, how-to documentation, we did all of that for them, and they were like, this is cool. They never expected. But we said, no, this is actually for us. But we realized that, okay, this will benefit everybody, even the end customer. Of course, then, a group of technical writers modified it. We gave the initial version, and then the content was modified and given to the customers. But likewise, so value addition, very important. Gaurav, thank you for bringing that. Well, some people who haven't spoken yet: Radhakrishnan, Mahesh, you've been silent. Teapot, you've been there right through the call without speaking a word. How did you manage that? I don't know. Well, so one of the first things, unmute. Okay.
Yeah, I was. Good morning, everybody. It's early morning here. I was just listening and trying to follow up on the line of thought of what a lot of people are saying. And one thing I was going to mention is all of these things you guys are saying is really good. You've all raised very good points. But please, let's advise each other that we should not do these things because someone else is doing it. That's a very wrong reason to do anyway. I also have the same background like Soumya said. I basically employ myself. I can't imagine myself working in the same place for 2 years. I'm very, very restless. So staying in the same place for more than a year or 18 months for me is too much of a ask. So I go everywhere. I'm a consultant. I've been doing that. But I remember the things that shaped where I am today was when I was working at Fujitsu years ago as a test manager. We have access to all sorts of tools. We have access to all sorts of exercise and processes. And one of my managers used to tell me that you would get access to the things that goes with your job anyway. You will have the trainings, you have all of that. What about those things that don't go with your job? Are you just going to abandon them? Do you not think they will be of any use to you? And we had that conversation, and this guy would send me on training that has absolutely nothing to do with test management. Who wants to be a fire marshal? Ade is coming. Who wants to learn how water run is course? Ade. He nominates me for everything. And I will sit down there getting angry. I don't want to go and learn how to make cereal or anything because he sent me to everything. And years later, when I left and I became a consultant, and I gained a project-based job. So basically, I go to a job based on statement of work. What do you want me to do for you? Oh, we need you to put a test team together for this organization, train them and hand it over to them, and that's it. That's what I'll do. Okay, fine, let's do it. And then when I started doing that, I realized that, you see, all those unnecessary on useful training, right? That was sent to how to learn how water run is caused, how to make cereal. All of a sudden, I needed them as much as I needed my testing skills. And you would not believe it. I spent so much time on the phone to that guy, the manager, thanking him because now I have to play people's politics. I have to find out who knows what in each organization, who can direct me so I can do my job. These are not the core skills of a tester. Like we just get there, sit down, requirement, all of the documentation, we look at it, we start doing our preparation and we test. We don't go looking for who controls the coffee machine, who has the key to the office, where can I get a proper chair, and then well, I started doing those things and I started learning, and over the years I got better with it, and then when I turn up at a different place, it looks like magic. Now we have a lot of people coming up and they are looking at me like I want to be like Teapot. No, don't be like Teapot. Don't be like Brijesh. Don't be like any of us. Be you. Because whether you believe it or not, with your years of experience as well, you're still learning from people coming behind you. Because most of us, I can see, most of us that are with years of experience, we're closer to the end of our career than to the beginning of it. Now, the guys coming behind you are coming into new set of technology, a new world where things are changing rapidly, and then we have to play catch up with them. And so, regardless of where you are, we're all learning from one another. So don't try to be like anybody, okay? Do it because it's you, okay? And then the rest of us can learn from you, okay? And again, I want to say something. Someone said something earlier about, oh, I want to learn this so I can participate in that. That is good. It's an ambition. But when you're talking of career, when you listen to people who have done something and then tell you the outcome of it, learn from that. Okay. When you listen to people who say, I wish to do this so I can do that, so I can be that. No, that's an ambition. They haven't actually done it. But when you listen to someone say, you know what, when I was a tester and in my place of work, we don't have any documentation and I decide to start documenting stuff for them. And before you know it, I become the head of business analysis team and all of that. Listen to that person because that person has a wealth of experience because he has gone from trying to do something, trying to learn to do something to actually doing it. Okay. And the skills I picked up from software testing are the tools that helps me to manage 2 startups in addition to my day job. I have 2 startups that I founded myself, that I run myself with remote teams, and I still have a day job as a software testing consultant. Now, the skills that I picked up along the way are like how to talk to people, how to deal with difficult questions, how to answer or ask difficult questions, how to think before making a move. Those are the things that helped me manage a team of Generation Z employees. I mean, these guys will do something before thinking about it. That's their generation skills. They will do something. They will do an entire organization communication with you on WhatsApp using all sorts of shorthand messages. I have to play catch up with them. Like, okay, I've read your message like 5 times. So I don't have a clue what you're saying. And all of them understand it. So I have to learn those things. And now I do understand them. So when you see someone who says, guys, I did X, I wanted to do X, or I've done X, listen to the people who are saying, I have done X. Because they come with a bag of experience for everybody else to learn. And so those are the observations I picked up from what everybody said. I just sat down there quietly because it's quite early in the morning for me. But it's been a wonderful conversation. I wish we would have at some point, because I realized that most of us we're putting X into Y a lot. I want us to have a conversation where people among us who have hired people into software testing roles we can come together and discuss what we looked for, how we went about it, how we recruited, so that the people on the other side of that fence can listen in and go, right, this is a combination, this is a gathering of software testing people who have actually hired or built teams. Because I think that's the other side of this conversation, because we are all talking from personal experience now. What about on commercial experience? What about on official experience? How we've gone ahead to build teams somewhere? How we've gone ahead to hire people? What we look for? How we went about it? So the people in the group who haven't done that or who might find themselves doing that soon can learn from us, so that the people who are going out for interviews will know, right, I've listened to 20 hiring managers speak firsthand. So I have an idea, I have a very good idea what these guys are looking for. So on both sides of the scales, it helps all of us, because I can pick up on what I struggle with in hiring that you do smoothly, and vice versa. And someone else can pick up on how I need to prepare, because these are like software test managers talking about how they recruit and stuff like that. So those are my observations. Apology for the ranting. It's so early on Sunday morning around there. I only just woke up a few hours ago. So.
Your ranting sounds...
I'm on the same boat, Teapot. So
Your
too early on a Sunday morning.
Your ranting is more like music, so it's okay. We are very happy with your ranting. Well, I think we've gone past our time. Yes, we have. I think that's a very good suggestion, Teapot. We can do that in our next call. I see a lot of people in hiring positions already in this call. Seema, yourself, Teapot, Ravi is there, Mahesh is there, Gaurav is there, Subbu, I think you've been hiring as well. So yeah, he's suddenly gone quiet today. Yeah, otherwise and now he's smiling also. Okay, so, well, I can pick on Subbu because he's a good guy. Radhakrishnan is there. I think Radhakrishnan also in a spot where you can you are hiring, right, Radhakrishnan? You haven't spoken.
Yeah, I am also hiring actually.
Yeah, so we all can do that. That's a very good suggestion for our next call. Well, before we disperse, can I have a group photo? So I will ask you to turn your cameras on, please. Gaurav, Aman.
Is this where we do the sign like this, or which sign do we do now?
You go. You can do a. You can if you can do a headstand, that works for me as well. So.
No, I'm okay like this.
Okay. All right. Mahesh, Aman.
Hey, Brijesh, sorry, I can't be on the camera right now, but maybe next time. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem. No problem. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Jeez. All right. Thank you. Well, very good discussion. I think we heard different perspectives on there's a lot to take away from that, for me at least. Sanjay, brother, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a very good idea for you to join, so we hope to see you. We hope to see you more frequently. Ravi, thank you so much, brother, for joining. Very nice to see you. Parish is joining now, and unfortunately, he's late. Parish is also a great guy. He's also in a position where he hires a lot of people, so and has a lot of wisdom to share. You can check out his Test to Speak interview. It was really nice. Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining today. Wonderful conversation. We will continue this next week, and like Teapot suggested, we will do a thing from a hiring manager's perspective, what people look for when we are hiring. And I think that will be a very good exercise, so that people who are going to give interviews will have a fair idea as to what kind of questions to expect. Okay, apart from the usual coding questions that you receive these days. So sorry, we can't help you much with those kind of questions. like write a piece of Java code or whatever. Yeah, that'll come. That'll come anyways, because if you're going to a position for let's say a test automation architect, and there is a problem for you to solve, you might have to write some code, so and show that you can actually solve. But yeah, so thank you everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. We have some very interesting events coming up. We have an AMA coming up with Pradeep. We also will make announcement of another AMA which is coming up in the month of June. That's also going to be very interesting. I'm not revealing the name of the guest yet because I am awaiting for her confirmation. So that's a hint that it's going to be our first female guest on the AMA series, which is quite interesting. I mean, I was hoping that it would have happened much sooner, but it is happening now. So anyways, on that note, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a great week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you.
Happy weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Have a good day.